Hello, everybody. It's Andy here, aka Montolio, and we're back for another Vintage League. Happy New Year's to everybody. I have been away from recording for a little while now, since before Eternal Weekend North America, both to take a little bit of a break from Magic. Number two, it was the Christmas holidays, and now things are settling down a little bit, and the cost of these cards came back down in White Plume Adventure and Seasoned Dungeoneer. So I have bought them back, and we've been playing a little bit of White Initiative over the last couple days, and the deck is really good, and I have been enjoying it. Uh, for those of you who saw some of my earlier videos, I ported this deck from Phil Gallagher, Thraven you a legacy expert, and the deck started to do really well in Vintage. And of course, as you all know by this point, it's really taken off one Eternal Weekend with a number of top eights, and really is putting up solid numbers in Vintage challenges and to a lesser extent leagues. But uh, I actually sold my cards for about 500 and I don't know, 550 ticks or something like that. It was at an absolute frenzy on Magic Online at the point it was a Legacy Showcase the next day, and these cards were just nowhere to be found on Magic Online. So bought them back for I think 130 tickets. So made a pretty good little profit there. But that said, irrelevant to the situation at hand. Not much to say about this deck. I still think that this deck is sorting itself out. There'll be a lot of people out there that have opinions as to what's good in the deck and what's not good in the deck. The card, I guess, that is uh, a little uncertain to me at this point is Anointed Peacekeeper. A lot of people on Twitter are coming to the card's defense and telling me how great the card is. At first, I was not sold on the card. In the three slots, pretty crowded, and that said, I have tried it the last couple leagues, and it has impressed me. I won't lie. Particularly shutting off Bazaar of Baghdad on the play is just such a huge game. But of course, it does lots of other things. It just disrupts your opponent. Anyways, not much else to say about the deck. I think it's rather generic at this point. Another card I've come around on is Cavern of Souls. In the very early beginning of when I ported this deck, I eschewed playing Cavern of Souls because of the many archetypes of creatures here. You know, you got elementals, incarnations, you've got humans, you've got clerics, you've got archons, you've got spirits. Sorry for the pause there, guys. Got a little bit of a cold today. Essential blow my nose there. But anyways, I've never been a huge fan of an unfocused Cavern of Souls, but I think one of the differences that you're seeing in this particular deck is that the cards individually are so very powerful. You know, if you have to set it on Archon, yeah, it's suboptimal doing it because it doesn't work for anything else in your deck. But resolving an Archon can be a game-winning play, as well as resolving one of your initiative creatures. So, anyways, guys, we've got a little bit of a mix mash on the sideboard. I am playing with things. I absolutely do not believe the sideboards are optimal in these decks, and I am trying some different things. One of the things I've been losing to a little bit on with Initiative is some of the supreme fast combo workshop decks that are running around out there, like Smelting Bats and uh, Crackland Ironworks, that sort of thing. So I'm going to try out Serenity today. It very likely could just be an extra Stony Silence to shut those things down because obviously Serenity does hurt our deck to some extent with our fast mana, which is integral in the beginning of the game. But I think the benefit does outweigh the risk, at least at first glance. And you know, for your opponents that are playing Urza Sagas, things like that, it can clean up that mess, despite I would not side that in specifically just for Urza Saga. That said, guys, I'm going to take you in here. If you haven't done so already, please hit the like and subscribe button. We're going to see you round one. Okay, guys, here we are in round one of our Vintage League. We're playing Initiative, and I'm playing against an opponent who I believe is a combo player. I think this hand is reasonable. You've got a turn one Archon, followed up by a turn two White Plume. Not sure what my opponent's playing. Like, I remember this player as a PO player, if I do recall, but I have not seen him in several months, maybe up to a year. So I think what I'm going to do, that said, I'm going to get pitch the Solitude here if this Chrome Mox resolves. Hopefully we're not playing into a Mind Break trap, but Archon is a pretty powerful turn 1 play if it resolves. Nope. All right, another set. Nice. That's a pretty strong play from them. It's a strong one from me if I can get that Karn into play ever. Next turn I should be able to if things go well. Okay, White Plume is in. Fixes my mana. Excuse me. The next turn getting Karn into play I think will be very strong if I'm able to accomplish that. Hopefully this is not a tinker. Mentor, okay. Mentor's a good one. My opponent is low on resources. And they will be able to likely take the initiative from me here. So my opponent will be left with 1 mana here. Let's get in there. And Karn's pretty strong here. I don't have anything in my sideboard that's relevant with Karn. That's not why he's in the deck. Okay, so they can suicide their mentor into my White Plume, but I don't think they can win if they do that. So we might be all right here. Just have to hope they don't find a spell here. Oh, I didn't even use my Karn. That's funny. It was actually a bit of a mistake because if they find the Academy, it's I mean, I know they only have 1 card in hand, but I've given them a free. Ah, that's so funny. I just said that play. Pretty big mistake. I guess I could have goaded their mentor here. Probably a better play to do so. Not playing this optimally by any means. Really unfortunate that I have played this so sloppily. And it's possible we lose from here because of my mistake there, but we'll see. My opponent is probably going to have to keep us away from drawing a card. God forbid I get into the Throne of the Dead. So they can do me a fair bit of damage here if they draw a spell. So let's hope not. We did not draw a creature, unfortunately, which is another bit of a punt, but can't complain too much. They are not coming in. Okay. Let's not make that mistake again. Let's get rid of that. This will leave them with 1 mana. I'm not going to cast a spell here. I don't think that there's any counterspell they could have here that would do anything to this, but if it's an ancestral, I can't really respond anyways. So we're going to force a chump block here, the monk token. A repeal, I guess, is something. Okay. So we are presenting lethal here this turn. They have 1 mana. Okay, we did not get punished for our poor play. I think we made 2 mistakes there. Number 1, I forgot to use my card in turn 1, which actually ended up turning on the Academy, the line that we said we didn't want to see. And they drew that card off the top. And number 2, I think I should have goaded the creature, the mentor, into my orc rather than trapping. So we are playing against very likely PO here, is my guess from this opponent. I am going to try the Serenities out. I don't know if this card is any good in this situation. We're going to try it. I think Solitude is not at its best in this matchup, but I do, if I'm able, like to keep a couple of them in the deck, just strictly for being able to combat something like construct tokens. Dali is less potent on the draw, but still certainly a good. Get rid of some of the bigger guys here. I also don't think Peacekeeper is likely as potent on the draw. Also, if my opponent gets a Sphinx of the Steel Wind, this is another line that we can use to remove that. But I don't think that is necessarily something my opponent is looking to do, but I'm not going to Grafdigger's Cage. I don't think I'm going to Pithing Needle. Let's try this out and see how we do. Yeah, good hand. As long as my Chrome Mox resolves, I think it's reasonable. Chalice is not likely to be as good in this game because my opponent is likely to play out on turn 1. But if they hold back on a PO or develop a PO later in the game, the Chalice is still strong. Okay. Ooh, don't like that. Narset. Ancestral. Okay, wow. Sweet. I think my opponent very likely had a weak hand here, and we're just able to get it going here fast enough on turn 1 to turn it into an excellent hand. Time Walk, okay. They have the Mox Opal in hand, we know that. So could be setting up a PO here. Wow. Completely and utterly gutted here by my opponent. Just a really powerful turn 1 from them. And my hand looks fantastic, but here's the Opal. Okay, I mean, probably not resolving my Archon here is my guess. We'll come down with the Chrome Mox here. What do I want to get rid of? If I get repealed, this is a lot worse for me. I just got to do the Archon. Yeah, and no surprise here. This makes the PO a lot worse. I valued that more than I did the Archon there. I think mostly because I have a second Archon. And if we can find a land here for Karn, it's really strong. Okay. They can PO for 3 here. POing here, yep. So they lost the Mox, so it is -1 there. They can probably time walk here. Okay. It's pretty good. I'm still slamming an Archon here. Archon is just so powerful, and yeah, they might have another Force of Will, but we have to play to our outs here, and this is just our best play. So opponent's pausing. They might have a Force of Will in hand. That's what that indicates to me. Okay. Nice. Okay. Wow. Land. Huh. Dahlia's pretty good too. If I can resolve it. Okay, it's in. These are good cards, guys. Wow. All right. Sure wish I'd found another land here, but I don't really have a great setup here, but it just is what it is. They're going to repeal? Nope. Nice. I think they might just be flooded. Now, Snapcaster can get in the way of the Spirit here. I don't think I'm going to make that offer. I do feel like my opponent is setting me up here for being able to repeal something and a turn, but we'll see. Oh, this could get a force. No. I guess balance would be a thing. I mean, balance would be pretty devastating if it happened, but would come at a significant cost. Don't think it really matters. I don't want to block with the Archon. In case they had a Ragavan or something, I don't think they're playing those colors, but it was likely just as per PO. We are presenting lethal this turn. The Digger time? Oh, it is a balance. Okay. Well, we only have 2 lands. Okay. I mean, it's pretty good. They can Snapcaster Time Walk here. Yep, nice. Chow is still doing some work here. Next turn we can play Karn. Yeah, so that's what they're doing exactly. Yep, going after the Time Walk almost assuredly. I am at 8 life here, ostensibly 6 life. Oh, they're going to repeal. Oh, they're going to go after my Chalice naturally. That makes sense. Well, the good news for me is if they don't have a PO here, like if this is a PO, it sucks for me big time. Okay, so Karn is going to look strong here. Okay. I guess we lost well. Spirit, an Ancient Tomb. So Ancient Tomb, I actually do like the Spirit, believe it or not. Ancient Tomb, yeah, I like that because it lets me play. It lets me actually play Kataki or okay. So I like all of these cards. I'm gonna put this on top. I am gonna gamble with my life here. Question is which is better? Kataki will make him lose all of their artifacts. Problem being is that I have 2 that I need to kind of pay for, which I don't like as much. And Thalia, 1, 2, 3, 4, will allow them to PO, but I only have to fade 1 turn before the Spirit comes in. So I think that is correct. So what I'm going to do is I am going to play Karn the Great Creator here. We'll get Karn into play. Now I can play Thalia. Don't think there's anything in my sideboard I care about. This will be able to block the Snapcaster Mage. And this time I will not make the mistake of not using my Karn. Oh, I should have played my Chalice. That was a mistake. Not playing my tightest league today, but that's all right. We're just warming up. Okay. Goad this guy. And get rid of this, I guess. And now we'll cast this guy. All right. We did see the balance coming this game. My opponent was obviously setting up for something, but you don't really have the luxury of playing around things like balance with this deck. It didn't impact us to the extent that they would certainly have liked. They lost several lands and cards from their hand. Okay, good exchange for us. I think we want Catacombs here. Anointed Peacekeeper. Don't really want to go to 2 life here. Sorry guys, my phones weren't going off here. Planning a trip for the summer with some buddies. And lots of group texts going around here. Lots of excitement. Okay, so my opponent has 2 mana. I guess I could play Kataki here. Right? Like we're just, yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of crazy not to be honest. The other option is I play the Peacekeeper. Maybe I just do. Maybe I'm just not worried about going to 2 life. This is not a deck that's going to lightning bolt me. Let's do this. Famous last words, right? They don't have the lightning bolt. Well, my opponent could force a will this, but okay, guys, not my cleanest game of Magic, but I think we played the majority of it tight. Just a couple minor mistakes that we didn't get punished for. Another display of how powerful the Undercity initiative is. Did a lot of work for us this game, or this match in general. But see you guys next round. Hey everybody, Andy here at Totally back for round 2 Vintage League with Mono White Initiative. We won the die roll, and what do we got? Hand is awkward. Oh no, it's a pearl. Oh geez, that's a slam. I mean, tough choice here what we play out first. In case it's bizarre, I think that's just got to be Anointed Peacekeeper. It's the most mana efficient play. Obviously, both of these cards are powerful in their own right. I don't know. It's a tough call. I'm honestly not sure. What's the best line here? Probably just Thalia, right? Yeah, I gotta do Thalia here. If it's bizarre, we do get punished for this line. Oh, Migrate Trap. Nice, okay. There's no playing around that. So this is probably is bizarre. The most common card that you see my Break Trap main deck out of is Squee. So it's possible that we do get punished here for not playing smartly and playing the Mox afterward, right? Like had we played Spirit, would have been super powerful there. Had we just gone Mox, Wasteland, Spirit. Anyways, that's it. It's hindsight's 2020. Oh, it's not. Okay, interesting. A little bit awkward, but I'm going to do it anyways. Let's take a look and see what we're dealing with here. They've got nothing. Like if I take that Oka away, solid, but they've let me play my Anointed Peacekeeper into their Misty Rainforest, which shuts it off. I'm going to choose the Misty Rainforest here. And I think I'm just going to Wasteland it. Actually, I'm going to go after the Beseiju because the Beseiju come and play tapped. It doesn't. So I think I'm just going to Wasteland this thing now. I think this is how it works. Like, I don't think the Misty will activate here. Yeah. So I think that was probably our best tempo play. If they draw an Oath of Druids, obviously it's difficult for us, but they have one of their targets in their hand. And my hope is that we're going to be able to get our game going here big enough that we can deal with that Oko if it comes into play. That's my rationale. The planes would be welcome here. An initiative creature. Okay, that certainly does work. Tough call here. Don't really think they're going to be drawing any cards here, given what their mana situation is and what I know of their hand. I think it's probably better to hold up Solitude here. Just flash it in if I have to. Like if they brick here, I think that's okay. Yeah, interested to know how if my greediness there with going after the Misty was proper or not. Let's get her going. Possible they could have drawn Force of Will here. Yep, they did. Mental misstep gone. Okay, nice. So I have full information here. I'm going to need a bit of help, I think, here. The good news is that we can continue to deploy our plan here. We can still move our board forward despite the awkwardness of our mana situation here. And, you know, obviously these aren't the best cards we want to be drawing, but this is a fairly serious clock for my opponent. And if they brick one more turn here, I feel like we're in strong shape. If they get the land, it's Oath of Druids. Geez, okay. So that Oko is far more preferable than Oath here, but it is what it is. It's awkward, guys. Okay. See what they got. We know they have their Grizzlebrand in hand. They have another one they can't draw, and we can remove it. Like, having Solitude here is very strong. Okay, well, Niv Mizzet is pretty scary because it does kill my spirit. Let's take a look at what they've got here. They are legendary Oath, Niv Mizzet and Grizzlebrand. Yeah. All right, well, there's their Oko. That can come down now. So this one slipped away from us a little bit. I mean, we're not 100% dead here, but it's not good for us. The Oko really does compound things. See if they just make a token here, or a food. To be honest, this is, if I draw a white card, this is the best case scenario for me, because I can kill them. Actually, I can't because they gain 5 life, but I can kill the Oko. We did draw it. Okay. Well, let's get busy living. And they may not have any targets left in their deck. This is exiled. Yep. So they have their Oath in their hand. And what we can do is we can kill their Oko. And See what happens. See if they oath again here. Now, if they have a third creature in their deck, it's really bad for me, but I would say that would be quite unique to modern oath builds to have more than 2 creatures in your deck. We know they have 2 Pyroblasts in hand, a Grizzlebrand, so that's their hand. Well, we keep losing a lot of flips here, which is the unfortunate thing. I'm going to kill their Boseiju here. See if they crack their Misty Rainforest in response. That would be the correct thing to do, is to tap their mana to pay for the Misty, because they may not realize the Misty is still underneath the Anointed. Yeah, so they're gonna. Smart. Okay, so let's see if they can find their way out of this one. There's significant lethal damage coming through here. I have to question whether it was correct for them to hit my Mox Pearl there. I understand what they were trying to do in mana skewering me, and I guess they did have the Niv Mizzet come into play, so they felt secure that way, that I wasn't getting any damage through. But yeah, it did accomplish what they were looking for with reference to shutting my mana down. That I will say. I definitely want Grafdigger's Cage. I could see wanting the swords. Could see a Pithing Needle. On the draw here, this is not as good. Like, do I want Serenity for an oath? Like, probably not. I could see maybe wanting to go a little heavier on the removal on the draw. Don't think Trinisphere is where I want to be. Caracas is great. This does get through their creatures if it resolves. I normally am not overly excited about that. Maybe we can dump a Karn here. Karn is pretty good, though. Thali on the draw is just not as good, especially when I've got some of this stuff coming in. Maybe a Spirit, something like this. I'll try that out. I'm not really sure what the right recipe is. I find Thali in these type of matchups to be a little bit underwhelming when you're on the draw. Like, the damage is already being done, and yes, you can stop an oath maybe for a turn if they just play a land pass, but it's inevitable it's coming into play. This hand doesn't do anything. I could waste them till I find a plains. I can do better. Okay, Containment Priest is strong here. Guess I'll put away the Anointed Peacekeeper. I don't necessarily think this is a winning hand, but we are on the draw. We have our best card in Containment Priest. Let's see. A lot of white initiative decks are not playing Containment Priest. I question that logic. I think Containment Priest is really good. It fits into the theme under Cavern. Now let's see how proactive my opponent here is. What do we want to get rid of? Oh, they're just going to... Jeez, sure. No. Do Cleric. Opponent probably won't be happy to see that, but we are having some trouble with mana here. Part of me really wants to get the White Plume down before I cast the Containment Priest, because this will get me another mana and get my game plan going. That's what I'm talking about, that Cleric synergy. Didn't have to choose human. I was able to keep it on Cleric, which allows me to cast the White Plume here. So I think I am going to... Oh, okay, they forced my hand here. I did not expect to see a strip mine. They're probably playing Wrenn and 6 here. Okay. I mean, I'm manaless, but we got some outs. Okay, swords, not ideal, but we do have some removal here, swords and a solitude. If things go backwards, we eventually will draw into a plains or a white source. Okay. Stay an Oath of Druids. I don't mind them giving me an orchard token here. They're probably, I think their only way to likely remove this would be Oko. Wrenn and 6, okay. So we are strip mine locked. Okay, we're going to go after Wrenn here. Maybe I shouldn't even be worrying about Wrenn. I guess they have the Ancestral there. Like, so the card we need to fade here is Oko. That said, Oko will have to give us a token off of the orchard. Okay. Oath of Druids currently is not a threat. 2 bottom, okay. There's a Mox. Will they kill my spirit token here? Seem a little bit bizarre, but yeah, okay. Maybe they have a second Wrenn here. Okay, there's the Oath of Druids. Okay, Wasteland. So I feel like I might need to get rid of this. But they cannot curly cast Oko if I kill their trop. So I think I'm going to be proactive and go after their tropical island here. Yeah. We just have to live with that. You know, I'm going to have to find a plains and get rid of it with the strip mine before I can start to move my game plan forward. I am given some level of solitude with the solitude in hand. I mean, our clock isn't nothing. And every orchard token my opponent gives me definitely helps us move forward. Okay, so is this an Oko? That's the question. Ren 6, okay. They can ping me, but I'll kill the Ren. Okay. I am not going to worry about Ren 6 anymore. I am strictly on the plan of trying to kill my opponent here. Needle was not bad, and that also plays into my line of trying to kill my opponent. Let's just try and get our game plan going here. I mean, it's a bit of a stretch for me able to win this game, but it could happen. If there's one thing I know about Oath of Druids is that it is an inconsistent deck. Yep, okay. Okay, so this is how they do it. Is they play an Oko here and take away my orchard or my containment priest. Now I'm in some trouble. Well, I'd like to take them off using Grizzlebrand if I can. Even though they can make a food and give themselves life, if I can ever get this needle going. And who knows, maybe they got their own targets in hand again. I just don't know. Brainstorm. That's unfortunate because that'll put them back in. If it is Grizzlebrand, I can respond with Solitude though. So let's see what they got. Grizzlebrand. Well, I don't think it really matters. Let's see if they have Force of Will here. It's been a good game. I mean, the fact that I've got them down to 6 life and I haven't had a land since essentially turn 1, we're doing all right. Well, it's my big drop. Okay, I think this one's over now. Yeah, all right. Just a little bit too slow there. We were not able to apply any pressure that game. I definitely like Thalia better on the play. Jailer's all right. Like the likelihood they can steal the initiative from me is pretty low. Let's try this out, guys. I think I'm reasonably pleased with this setup. Can't do a turn. Okay, so what we're gonna do, this is decent. Well, it's better than decent. The card that concerns me here the most is Mindbreak Trap, but I cannot play around it. And it would be disappointing, but it just is what it is. Because I want to get this other box in here, the other pedal. But it's disappointing. Yeah, okay, so that was foolish of me to do that. It was not worth it. Okay. Yeah, that was a punt on my part. So greedy. And like to be fair, Mindbreak Trap is terrible against my deck. You can get it on turn one sometimes, but they've got us about 2 games with it here, so it's really unfortunate. And if they have an Oath of Druids here, I'm just in a world of hurt. That's not Oath. Okay. Time Walk. All right. I guess that's better. I find it interesting they took red. Huh. Kind of kicking myself because I think Thalia would have been probably a game-winning card for us there had it resolved. Okay, Oko's a scary one here. Yep. Yeah, and they can steal my dungeon here. Just nothing I can do about it, though. I have to play into it. All right. I mean, I'm pretty disappointed. I'm going to save my Chalice for one here. They are going to be able to get the initiative from me here at some point, but we will trade resources back and forth. Huh. I knew they had the Mindbreak Trap. I had it in my head that I wanted to play the pedal down before the Thalia came down, but what I didn't look into or didn't think deeply enough is that I had the Ancient Tomb to be able to ensure that I had a turn 2 play in Seasoned Dungeoneer, and the pedal didn't matter. It was just a greedy play. As I identified, I knew it was there. I'm playing into it. The likelihood of them having it is very low. Have to do this, but didn't. And I mean, these are the type of nuances where you can be eternally punished in Vintage for these minor mistakes. But this has been my opponent didn't steal it. Interesting. They just have an oath. Yeah, they do. Okay. All right. That's pretty bad news for me. Still have that initiative going though, and I am going to forge here. We're going to do our best to try and close this out. It's pretty decent, believe it or not. And let's get it going. And a trap. I'd like to set this Chalice at 1, but it takes my ability to cast this thing away, so I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to put it on 0. My opponent's likely to steal my Dungeoneer here, but maybe not. Maybe they'll, I mean, if they do that, I will be able to trigger Oath here. Okay. Blessing on the stack. Yep. How nice would a Caracas be, guys? So I am moving into Archives next turn, which is nice. This does trade with this. Okay. Will my opponent turn my Dungeoneer into an elk? I guess that's the question here. Like, I think Caracas wins the game for us if we find it. We're going to likely get a second look here with the Archive in the Undercity, throwing me an additional card. We have 2 Caracases out of 50. So the percentage is not high. Suffice it to say, but there is a chance. %, to be specific, but we'll take it. Yep, okay. Now, if they don't have Force of Will here, Solitude can do it. Caracas can do it. Caracas is a sure thing. We just win the game if we find a Caracas. Not a Caracas. All right. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to Chalice here at 1. See if this prompts a response. I actually can't kill them because they have a food here. So next turn they can steal one of my guys. I think just putting them down to 1 here to shut off Grizzlebrand for a turn is really big, rather than going after Oko. Yep. Sometimes Caracas is just really powerful. There are a lot of legends running around in Vintage, and with mono white being one of the predominant decks right now in the metagame, when you run Legend Oath, it's a little bit risky. So what is my opponent doing here? Okay, Force of Vigor. Okay. Okay. They're giving me a token for this. I don't think I need to float the mana. I would cast the Solitude if I could, but I can't. 1, 2, 3, 4, actually. No, I played the Kraken, so this turn doesn't matter. Okay. Fair enough. So they're at 9. I can put them to 1. They do have the food token there. Okay, we're back here. So my opponent is pinging me for a damage, likely. Yep. They're going to give me a token, which actually is pretty solid here. I'm going to float the white. No reason not to. And that goes back. Right, I cannot play another land. No. I'm just going after their life total here. Okay. And yes, they can Grizzlebrand here. Like Grizzlebrand Time Walk will cause me problems. Okay. I prefer it to be Grizzlebrand here than the Niv Mizzet, because the Niv Mizzet can kill my spirit token. And so if we can fade a strip mine or a wasteland here, I think we're in good, or a time walk for that matter. A time walk is preferable to a strip mine effect. And next turn, we do go into the throne, the Undercity, which is very powerful. Oh, nice. Okay. That was awesome. They did get me. All right. Baseju was one I did not mention. So yeah, we're gonna need some help here. I can put them up to 8, and that still kills them if they don't have a force. But the thing is they can't actually force me because they're at 1 life. So if they use their food token here, that would keep them above water to be able to force a will if they have it. So Cavern could do it for me. Another Caracas, like another Cavern will keep me going for sure because I'll resolve the Solitude. Caracas, obviously amazing. I do have Throne of the Dead coming off the top here, so I could hit a Solitude as well there. That's uncounterable. Did I keep the Peacekeepers in? Okay, they have decided to give me a Mox. Yep. And they've taken my Spirit token. Okay, that is pretty reasonable, actually. And they've gained 3 life. Very smart. Okay, so I am in a little bit of a conundrum here. Not a little bit, I'm in a conundrum, but I do get to go into the throne, which is pretty huge. So Seasoned Dungeoneer is going to be big, but Oko can shut it down. This was not my best hit. I was really hoping to hit a Solitude here, I think. Archon is big, slows my opponent down. They don't have a lot of mana as it is to be able to just do their own thing. Like a Seasoned Dungeoneer, just my best pick here. It does have hexproof until my next turn, so yeah, I'm going to do that. It's a big boy. The fact that this has hexproof is pretty big game for me. I am going to cast it and try and remove their Grizzlebrand from the game. Nope, they have the force. Okay. All right. Well, all in all, I'm in pretty bad shape. Can't really get through here. All right. I think my opponent has stabilized here. They will take the initiative from me. But if they attack with their Grizzlebrand, what does that mean? Because I'm coming through with quite a bit here. Oh, they must have it in hand. Or is it exiled? Oh, they must have it in hand. That's really lucky. They must have the Niv Mizzet in hand. Well, that was very fortuitous. They have to attack and draw and try and find something here to answer my Seasoned Dungeoneer, because this has hexproof. I'm coming through for a lot of damage next turn. Yep. All right. Nothing I can do. And they take the initiative. Let's see if they have a basic. I doubt they do. So an initiative creature can do it for me next turn. Perhaps. I mean, let's see what happens here, but they can gain more life off of Oko in the least, putting themselves to 13, which will keep them alive. 6, 7, 10. They can block my Seasoned Dungeoneer, my big one. But I am going to, well, I won't get to trap. So yeah, they're going to kill me next turn because I'm at 7 life. What a great game this has been. I mean, my opener with Thalia this game was really rough. It was a game-costing mistake, potentially, but let's see what we find. Archon is a blocker, guys. Well, let's see if we can find a cavern off the top in the least before I cast my Archon. We're going in with everything here. We will get to explore. Yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah. Let's forge. And put it on this guy. Reason being is that it will take Oko's ability from stealing one of my creatures here. My opponent has chosen not to do this all game long. Let's see. This is the Archon Resolve. It does. Now, I guess we're just dead here. Oko just makes my Archon. Yeah, I didn't think of that. Archon makes my guy not fly, and we just die. Yeah. Let's hope they don't see it. Yeah, they did. Okay. Good games. We had a number of outs there. When we drew that Caracas, I'm like, oh, that's going to be amazing. Excellent game. I don't think my opponent played Oko to near their capabilities. I think there was at least 2 instances where they could have stole my creature instead of making it an elk. I guess, I know what they were trying to do with triggering the oath, but I know they had an orchard out to mitigate that line. And them having their own Seasoned Dungeoneer would have been really powerful. They did that twice to me. But that said, on my end, I let them have the Oko for an exorbitant amount of time, and I had several opportunities to kill it, and I eschewed not to do so. And of course, the Oko was what killed me in the end. Like you look at what they did to me, right? They got rid of 2 Dungeoneers and an Archon. Would have been, I should have drawn a card. I would have been interested to see what I got. But anyways, there were some errors made in that game, probably on both ends. I think that was my match to lose. The Thalia play on turn one, playing into a mind break trap that I knew my opponent had hit me with in the previous game, was just an unnecessary thing to do. And I don't think they had a chance at winning this game at all if Thalia resolved, because I had the turn two and turn three follow up with the Seasoned Dungeoneer, and neither of these cards get into play in a timely manner. Anyways, that said, guys, that's Magic. We can't win them all, and if we played perfectly, it would be an easy game. See you next round. All right, guys, here we are in round 3 of our Vintage League. Saw that last round. It was a doozy. Playing against Hogak Vine here. We win the die roll. We did not. They have mulliganed. We are going to have to mulligan as well. He's not going to do, unfortunately, against Hogak Vine. I think we have to go down to 4 here. I hate to do it because we have the Wasteland, but Wasteland is just not enough against a deck like this. I think if I had a Solitude in his hand to buy me some time, I would consider it, but otherwise it's just not viable. They're down to 4. We're going to go to 4 as well. Much better. All right. Okay, we're down to 4. Three, 4, 5, 6. I could do 2 nice turn 1 plays. And Peacekeeper shutting off Bazaar. And White Plume. Yeah, I think I like that. Put back the 2 spirits. They're down to 3. I'm going to keep this. Yep. Oh, I have to get rid of 1 more. Oh, dear. That works. I would have liked to have the Peacekeeper because I think the Peacekeeper would have been a better beat stick and kept the Bazaar down at bay if they find one. But we're definitely going to go for the 2 turn 1 plays. Like, Spirit of the Labyrinth is no joke against Bazaar, and Hogak Mine is typically not a deck that can play around Spirit of the Labyrinth well. So, and they don't really have any counter magic in their deck. Now, if they get it down to turn 1 oof out of their 3 cards, yeah, we're going to die probably a painful death. But like for a 4-card hand, this is pretty solid against what's probably a difficult matchup. I have not seen a lot of Hogak buying around recently. I know it did top 8 a challenge last weekend, but I have not run into it in my leagues, and I think it's slightly fallen out of favor as a lot of people are playing White Initiative right now, such as myself. I certainly audible towards these type of decks. I enjoy playing the bizarre strategies. So there it is. Okay. Okay, here's my buddy. Nice thing about the White Plume, one of its probably underappreciated abilities is that the fact that it untaps. In essence, its ability to protect the initiative from root walls and still be able to apply pressure. And yeah, it's a very, very powerful card, obviously. All right, and let's get this guy into play. Hopefully my opponent doesn't realize and lets it resolve. Okay, so they have chosen to do so, and hopefully they can't put together a quick Hogak on us. It should be tough for them for at least 2 or 3 turns, I would think. If everything came together for them properly. Okay, they did find a Root Walla. So 1 card in hand. Let's see if they find a hollow one here. Suck if they could get their Vengevine going, but there's nothing I can do about that. Wasteland, okay. It's reasonable. We're definitely going to forge here. I guess the question is, what do I want to put it on? I can get 2 attackers going here. The risk in doing that is that I think that them sneaking in a Root Walla on me is not a play I want to. Actually, it's probably fine. I maybe should have done it the other way. But I feel like with the Spirit in play here, we're in decent shape. Because as you can see, they can't really use their Bazaar profitably here. They're just discarding 2 cards here. It must have a Root Walla. Hopefully not 2 of them. Yeah, they didn't realize. Okay. All right, I think we did some good aggressive mulliganing there to be able to get ourselves back into that one. I definitely like all these. I am not a big fan of Cradle in general against these types of strategies, but maybe it's just worth it in these types of situations because, or not these types of situations. What I'm trying to say is Hogak Bind, if they're playing Bloodghasts, you are getting a little bit more value than just hitting Vengevines out of the deck. So obviously, you're a little bit more incentivized to do it, but against Hogak in general, I don't think it's a fantastic strategy. Seasoned Dungeoneer, Palace Jailer. All right, I guess we can get rid of Karn. That doesn't really do anything. I do like Palace Jailer. I like all my ability to remove my opponent's creatures. Okay, I don't think Cage is going to make the cut here for the reasons I mentioned. Certainly Needle could. Spirit of the Labyrinth, you saw a good showing from it there. I do worry about Force of Vigor from this deck. I also think Trinisphere is a really good card against these types of decks, if you can resolve it. Peacekeeper is good against Bazaar. Seasoned, maybe it's a Seasoned Engineer that's got to go here. Let's try this out, guys. I also like my Caracases. Yeah. A little bit of an awkward hand. Certainly not a game-winning hand for sure, but strong nonetheless. See how much they deploy out here. If I have to do the Tabernacle to try and get equity, but we'll see. Otherwise, I will just wasteland them. We're looking for Black Lotus off the top. Archon is definitely one of our best cards against this deck. Okay. So I do think this is a situation where I am going to Tabernacle and get my value while I can. 5 damage is nothing to sneeze at, and the likelihood my opponent's going to play a land next turn to play around Tabernacle is high. So it's going to take my opponent some time to rebuild here. We do have an answer for a Hogak if they get one at some point here. The Tabernacle likely is going to have to be removed. Well, let's see what they get up to here. Tabernacle was not what it once was against these Hogak decks, or Hogak list decks. Like if you saw the deck I played at Champs with 4 Gaia's Cradles in it, it could just completely negate your Tabernacle here. So my opponent has chosen to do that. Okay, White Plume is fine. I am going to take this opportunity here to Wasteland the Bazaar. And then we can play a basic, and then we can go into an Ancient Tomb next turn, cast an Archon of Emeria. Having basics is really powerful. Okay, so my opponent is going to play the long game here. Oh, they give me a land in my Tabernacle. This is one of the true downsides of Yavimaya Cradle of Growth. I played 3 of them at Champs, and I certainly tried this out early on when it was first released, as I was quite engrossed in Hollowvine at the time, Squeevine as it's called today. And this was the main reason that I eschewed not playing it, because it turned on Tabernacle. So my opponent has given me an extra land here. Can I cast anything? I cannot. So I'm going to play a basic here. We're just going to pass turn. And from there, we're going to do, I believe Archon is, well, I don't know. White Plume actually might be just the better play here. Let's see. I am somewhat incentivized to play the White Bloom so I can get initiative going. Okay, they're not going to hard cast a Benjamin, I was thinking, but Containment Priest, does that do anything? I'm going to get the Archon in because it will prevent them from doing shenanigans. And my opponent could be playing coy, trying to get this Benjamin into play here now. Yeah, got my Cavern. Yep, powerful. My opponent's just a lot of land, not even worried about my Tabernacle. I'm going to cast a White Plume Adventurer here. I could have wastelanded them off their stuff, but because the presence of Archon is here, they can't really do big shenanigans against me. And if a vine comes down, hard cast vine, I can remove it with Solitude. I like this. It gets me another basic. And we can untap the Archon here. Respect. We're definitely forging. Put it on my buddy here because it's the most important card. Yes. Yes. And we're just going to play out some basics, guys, because I think that what I fear the most from my opponent is them removing my basic. And then I'm going to lose my creatures that way. This will stop a Benjamin. Like what I'm trying to say is my opponent wastelanding me off my one land and then, wastelanding their Yavimaya or something to remove all my creatures. We're not in a hurry. We've got the game locked up here with these 2 creatures themselves, and for Solitude in my hand, should something go backwards, it's possible that they're on something like Dismember. So they can sink all their mana into this, and we're just going to Solitude it. And that will get rid of that before they gain 4 life. They just gained 2 life with this, and they wasted their turn doing that. Yeah, I was going to say it was a noble effort for sure, but we're moving into trap now, so we're going to put them down to 8, and then we're going to hit them for 7, putting them to 1. And of course, we were going to draw the box there, so we were likely just going to Archon again. I'm sure that Dismember didn't clean up the game there, but yeah, we'll see you guys next round. Okay, guys, here we are for round 4. We're playing Bergamo. They're a combo player at heart for sure. We did win the die roll here, and we've got a really strong play in turn 1 Archon if we can resolve it. So I think I'm going to keep this, and if it gets countered, we have a nice turn 2 play. Bergamo, I know, likes 8 cast. I remember that about them. So, I mean, if I can resolve this Archon, it's going to be really strong against them. As it is against just about everybody you play Archon against. And it's in. All right. Nice. Okay. I'm going to play an Anointed Peacekeeper here. I'd like to get into the dungeon, but tough call. Tough call. It's a little bit sketchy here. Next turn they get Ancestral. I think we need Merchant Scroll. It's the most mana efficient play they have. Okay. I was going to say, we knew they were going to play Saga here. The Brainstorm. Gonna do another Peacekeeper, much to my chagrin here. I'm gonna put it on Saga to try and take. Oh, they found a Force. Okay, they got rid of Merchant Scroll. Well, I'm not as happy about that now that they found a Force. That's just ludicrous. I'm joking. I mean, it was fortuitous for them because now they've got me locked up under this Saga here, which is oh, okay, that's dangerous. Hmm. No, I'm going in with both. With that mana crypt there, I don't think they want to be taking damage. I think they're just going to take half my Anointed Peacekeeper away, or half their Saga away on that. They will be able to PO this turn. I can only do one a turn. Against my better judgment here, I'm just going to play out my card that I know is going to resolve. It's going to allow me to keep blockers up. It's going to keep me into the dungeon here, putting me closer to trap. Get a much needed land out of my deck. We can deploy 2 spells next turn. Like, yep, they definitely can do some stuff, but the Archon is very limiting as to what they can do in a turn. And of course, this Mana Crypt could do some work for me here. And it did. So I am presenting lethal now. Well, that's not true because they can get a blocker in here, but let's see what happens. I'm presuming this is just a top. Okay, it's a key. Okay, they're doing that to, well, they can set up Time Bolt if they have it. That's a line I didn't think about. Or they can make their construct unblockable. Okay, that's their spell for the turn. So Time Bolt is scary for sure. Flusterstorm. Okay. I think I have to put them on a Mana Crypt flip here. That was a good draw. Jeez. Oh, I can only cast one of these. Shuzbutt. Do I take the Narset away? I think is the question. It severely limits what they can do. I think I do. I think I take the Snarset away because I can't actually kill them, but the following turn I can potentially kill them. They can make this unblockable to take the initiative away from me. Like, their hand is not, to my knowledge, very good. The Strand is gone. These 3 cards are not great. This lets them do 1 per turn, so I think I Spirit. Yeah, this is a little bit playing scared, guys, but I think taking away Narset is the correct line here. The only way I truly get punished is if they have a Vault Key in hand. Kill that, and I think just taking card draw away from them is probably where I want to be. It also gives me an additional tacker. Let's try this. Okay. Oof. Scary. All right. Well, I am going to try this Serenity out here this game. Don't think that's where I want to be. Jailer's okay. Don't think Peacekeeper is likely as potent in this matchup. Could take out a Dungeoneer. No, let's try this. Hopefully I don't get punished taking out all the Solitudes there. I don't really have any removal left in my deck, but yeah, this is going to work. Strong play in Kataki. Transfer is very good. Okay. Well, this could be a hand where we get to punish our opponent potentially. Let's see. Okay, well, I am going to play this out. I'm going to put a white spell on it. I think what I'm going to do is get rid of... this is a tough call. I think Kataki. Let's see if this resolves. My opponent will not like this spell if they don't have an answer to it. This is very strong if the 3-pole resolves. Okay, they have removal. Okay, well, Vampire Tutor. And then just go the Saga route. Like, Saga is strong here. All right, that's good for me. Now, I'm not happy about Saga if they have it, because it slows me down. Yeah, that's exactly what they've chosen to do. All right, well, first things first, let's get in. Gonna play the Dungeoneer here, because it's just supremely the better card. We want to get that dungeon going here as quick as we can. Then they have to kind of sit back on this, and their tokens are not likely to be very big. Well, that does compound things a bit, but no, okay, they just got something here. Deluge. Sweet. Okay, that's pretty solid. Does Karn even do anything? Like, Karn's pretty powerful. I definitely don't want that. Yeah, I'm going to put Karn on top. So what I can do is I can cast the White Plume. No, I'm still mana short doing that. It's a Lotus. Yeah, I mean, we're just doing that. I really want to be able to continue to take the initiative here and move through my Undercity. Oh, I was thinking I was getting a land. We're going to stash. God, thank God I didn't make that mistake. Okay. That's our play. Let's see what my opponent does. I'm presuming they're going to make a construct here. Yeah. And hopefully they don't do anything here. Hopefully they just get like a Soul Ring or something. Yeah. And can't do anything. Oh, wow. Look at them. Just all in on sagas. It's pretty good. Let's see what they name. Baseland. That's pretty good. Ha! can get Pithing Needle with Karn. I didn't think of that. Shut off their sagas. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can't really do it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Yes, I can. I think I do trade with this thing. My opponent cannot do anything versus what I'm doing. They will block this, I'm presuming. It's really smart if they don't. But they don't know what I have going on here. Okay. Yeah, they're thinking about it. Because they have other artifacts coming, this is going to get bigger than what I'm doing. So them not blocking is pretty smart, but they have to realize though that they're thinking that they're going to make new tokens here. But as I get further down, the throne is threatened here right next turn, so they may not block. But I get to untap, so I feel like it's kind of a no-win situation for them. If they don't block, I'll just chump block it. Yeah, they let it go. Interesting. It's a good line. Okay, so, right, 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 1, 2, 3. Yep. Okay. Let's see. This is pretty powerful here, shutting off this Soul Ring. There's a Saga. Okay. I think that's our line, right? That's what we got. Okay. There's nothing else we want in our sideboard. The only thing we have is Cage. I don't think Cage does anything in this matchup. And yeah, we're going to go into the throne next turn, which is super sweet. Opponent is just commenting in a polite way how lucky I am, which is true. Things did work out reasonably well considering. That Karn draw was nice, and being able to perfectly get it into the needle out of the sideboard worked out good. But I liked my opponent's approach to this game. That they went in on the sagas. They had the sagas in hand. They had a toxic deluge. Like they had a good plan for what I was trying to do. And not to say that it won't work for them moving forward, but I feel like I'm significantly advantaged going into the throne here. But we'll see. Just making another one. Making this a 5/5. I'll double block it if that's the case. Ooh, that's nice. I like that. Okay. So that does change the complexity of this game here. My opponent played this reasonably well here. I don't really think I can let this get through. They take the initiative from me. I just take it back. The only thing is it might give them a basic, right? I can stand up my Trinisphere. Yeah, I think I just block here. I don't really want to give my opponent anything here. Wow. All 4. Seasoned Dungeoneer, right? Yep. The fact it has Hexproof was just such big game. Excuse me. Oh, Kataki, my lord, that is so powerful. But I got my Karn. Can't stand it up, so let's do this. All 4 Urza Sagas from my opponent. You don't get to see that every day. See if my opponent stacks this right, because if they let the Wasteland Needle go, I will respond before the Saga goes to the yard. Not that it really matters. I don't think there's anything that they can get that gets out from underneath the Karn, but they cannot make this greater than a 3/3, and it will cost them all their resources to do it. Kataki was strong here. My opponent has said GG's during my turn. For those of you who are unaware, it's rather poor etiquette to say GG's and not concede the game and continue to play on. It's really quite taboo to do something like that. I don't understand why people do it. Like, if you're going to say GG's, like, concede the game and move on. Otherwise, don't make your opponent think they've won the game when you continue to play. And there's one really famous situation where I had that happen from a reasonably, well, not reasonably, a well-known player today in Vintage, where they actually said GG's and played on a couple turns and actually ended up winning the game. And it's hard. It was hard not to be incensed at the time. I was in a tournament, and I was just like, really? I'd expect better. So you guys just, people can do what they want, but FYI, I think it's in poor taste to do something like that. So, anyways, I'm jammering on here. I've unfortunately given my opponent priority here, but what I am going to do, unfortunately, these are both on the stack. I'm going to take the good one here, and I will let them search. If I wasn't talking, I would have hit the one that searched. Yeah, that's not relevant. They're underneath a Trinisphere. They need to have another land. So let's see what happens. Okay. I will block. And we now have the initiative, and all we need to do is pay a bunch of triggers, and we should be good. And, no disrespect to my opponent. The reality is you can do what you want on Magic Online, but there's just certain things you don't do to people. Like, I've never understood people that, new players, I get it, but established players that run people up on things like Storm when, they've got a Tendrils in their hand and, they know you have nothing in your hand and they'll run you up. Things like that. As I mentioned, saying good game and then continuing to play the game out. I just find those to be unnecessary things. We're going to forge here. Guess I'll just put it on Kataki. Make them the big boy that they are. Yes, we're going to pay. Yes, we're going to pay. Yes, we're going to pay. And why not? I don't need to cast anything here. This is just game. And what do we want to do? I can just outright kill them here. 6, 7. Yep, don't need to do anything. I could have animated my Trinisphere, but no point in doing that. Not that I would ever want to open myself up to removal. Serenity. No, we can put that in the graveyard. My opponent is just deliberating a little bit about the game. They felt that I had two beautiful hands, and I don't really remember what happened in game one. I guess I had the turn one Archon, if I recall, which is certainly strong versus what they're doing. But this game, I felt like it was far and away from like a blowout game. Like my opponent had a very nice game plan up against what I was doing, just running out multiple Urza Sagas, all 4 of them, for as a matter of fact, which could have overwhelmed me at any point. I think the turning point in the game was when I drew the Karn into Pithing Needle to shut them off. Even that wasn't going to be a guarantee, but Kataki iced them. That's why you run sideboard cards. All pretty good, but my hand was nice, and did I get a bit lucky to beat them? I think so. So I think my opponent is feeling that my hands were excellent, and I don't know if that's the case. I mean, feel free to leave feedback in the chat, guys, as to what you think. But and my opponent is not being salty about it. They're just, I guess, commenting that my hand was basically unbeatable, and I don't feel that way. Okay. And then the opponent went on to say that they don't really lose to mono white, and that they're 4-0 and pity, quote unquote. Yep, I hear you. I lose a lot of 5-0 trophies. Believe you me, I get it. It's frustrating if you feel like you are favored versus a deck and you lose to it for a trophy. It does happen. The question I have is, how much are they favored? Probably. I think it's somewhat contingent on what side of my deck I get, and I don't know how confident the opponents that they're running into with white are, but I certainly have a moderate amount of experience with control strategies, and this deck does have it in Thalia's and Spirit of the Labyrinths, and the Peacekeepers, Wastelands, all that stuff. So, yeah. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this match. Another good showing for Mono White, and let's see if we can get a 4-1. Okay, guys, here we are for round 5 of our Vintage League. On the draw, we have Trinisphere, and then we can follow it up with a string of Wastelands until we find white. Is that enough? Yeah. Depends what we're up against. We're not going to die to Sagas, that's for sure. This is how my opponent plays land pass, but let's see. Ooh, bizarre. Yucky. All right, well, that's one way we can get punished. If this is Dredge, it's brutal for us. I mean, it's probably bad for anything we're playing against. Yeah, okay, we're not getting there with this one. Let's see. We need to get some information as to where we're playing against Squeeze, or we're playing against Hogak Vine, but yeah, just a bit too strong of a start for this particular hand. But we find a Black Lotus off the top or something, we could maybe be in reasonable shape. We could trade with this. Yeah, that's brutal. Okay. Well, we have no choice. We got to try and get rid of this thing. Yeah, it's gonna ice me. The Chalice is really the card that it got me here. Like I have a, yeah. I'm not sure what version of this we're playing against, but we're not going to find out because my opponent is not going to need to reveal any more information. So I think this comes in. I think Needle comes in. I'm not sure about Grafdigger's Cage because I'm not sure what we're playing against. And I think we'll bring in a couple Containment Priests. I think it's fine. Spirit in the Labyrinth. The question is, are we playing? I'm not sure how good this card is. Karn is not very good. Probably can take a Dungeoneer out. Palace Jailer is slow, but it could help me out. Not sure if we're playing against Hogak or not. Probably will hedge taking one of those out. To be honest, I think Thalia is probably just the weakest card here. Let's try this out, guys. Yeah, very strong turn one. If this resolves, I don't have white, but I've got a Wasteland and I've got a Tabernacle to buy me time. And if the Tabernacle resolves, or the Trinisphere, it's very powerful. Like, essentially, I don't really think my opponent can beat a Trinisphere. I guess if they just have a whole bunch of squeeze going with unlimited bazaars, they could find themselves into a Wasteland to be able to cast over the Trinisphere. It can happen, but it's unlikely. Yeah, my opponent just concedes to that. Once again, I still don't know what they're playing. All right. I held that hand on the back of the Trinisphere last time, but being on the draw, it was not likely to be a big player. I just don't think it's powerful enough in the draw. Like, maybe it is. I don't know. It's hard to know. Thalia works against this a little bit, this game plan. You know what? I think it's just kind of crazy not to be playing 3-Bull. You saw what it did there. Like, I would like to bring this extra land, is what I'm angling to try and get in. Just not sure what I want to do. Like, Seasoned Dungeoneer is probably the card that needs to go. Yeah, let's try this. There's a really high upside with Palace Jailer. Okay, I do have removal this time. I think this is the key piece. So as long as they don't go nuts on me here, I might be able to win this game. Once again, I'm not sure what type of squee or Bazaar I'm playing against, whether it's squee or Hogak or what. Okay, it is indeed squee. All right, well, I don't have a Wasteland this time, which is a little bit unfortunate. The 3-Ball is very tough for my opponent to beat if they cannot stop it. And there's no guarantees they can. They got the negation this time, yeah. All right, well, the double squee is going to be a problem here for me. Maybe I should have just played Archon. Archon's very strong against them. Like, we have powerful tools here still, but it's tenuous because they're drawing so much with the squeeze. But Archon Resolved does make them play more fairly. See if they wasteland me here. It would suck, but it's probably very likely to happen. Oh, another Bazaar, okay. They're going to let me play another turn here. Okay, they did hit a bunch of root wallas. So this is my opportunity to mop the board up here, and I'm going to have to actually do that. I don't really want to pitch my Archon to do that. I think I just take the hit and make them reset next turn. I understand they're ancestraling every turn, but we're kind of in a bad spot here. Double Bazaar is no joke. Well, that is really good. I wish it was a Wasteland. Does it resolve? It does. I could kill this. I think I do. Oh, I can't. Oops. Made the decision after I cast the Archon. But the Archon does make it so they cannot actually get Vengevine back from the yard. So maybe that was better for me not to do that. Because they can't cast 2 spells in a turn to reanimate it. Archon is very good against Hollow Line. The problem here is that I mentioned earlier in the game is that uninhibited squeeze bazaars is one way that they can overcome what I'm doing because I'm not going to be able to resolve my spells. But because I just have so much counter magic, but that will only go on for so long. I eventually will find wastelands and ways to disrupt them. And those masters do add up. A pretty big win for me here, though, getting rid of all of this. Like, the fact my opponent did double Bazaar there gave me an out. And I still have some quality cards in my hand here. Now, my Tabernacle's likely to be gone here. They might just go after my Ancient Tomb as well, trying to tax me on my Archon. That is a way they can do it, is they force a bigger me and wasteland my tomb. Yeah. Okay, I forgot about that feature. One of the best parts of Archon for sure. Keep our Ancient Tomb available here in case we draw something good. Okay, well, I'm definitely getting in. My opponent can get a root wall into play here. Try and get things going. We're going to play the basic here to protect ourselves from our own Tabernacle. Of note, they did keep a squee in hand, our master last turn, so they do have a counter spell. Good news, we have a Cavern of Souls here if we draw a key creature. Yeah, what an interesting game. I feel like I'm doing pretty well here. Fury is a card that is a problem. That would change the outlook of this game in a significant way if they had Fury. I didn't think of that up until now, and they really are churning through their deck, so it's possible they find one. We're gonna need to do something here quick. Yep, hollow one. Yep. I'm just gonna swords that, get it out of the way while my mana is available. Um, they can't counterspell because that's their one spell they've cast already. Tabby, okay. Second Tabby is not very good, but I can live with that. This will get in. Yeah, I don't really think we're winning this, but I'm gonna put it on the elemental because I have one. I mean, this is going to cue my opponent to go after the cavern because they're on forces. But I guess the other option was to sit on it, which is not actually unreasonable. I guess the question is, do they have Fury? If they have Fury, I think Fury is going to be very good for them in this game. Okay. Oh damn. I'll cast it on their turn. They'll still counter it unless they bring back a root wall or a hollow one or something like that. They are not coming after my land here. But every turn that goes by, this is getting more dangerous. If they do Fury my Archon, I will be able to respond once their trigger is on this, like they've targeted my Archon, I will be able to respond and resolve the Containment Priest. Because they've already cast a spell that turn, they're still under the Archon spell before the trigger resolves on the Fury. So that is something. Okay, there's their spell. Will they cast it is the question. Yes. Okay. Okay. They've just conceded. Okay. I don't think my opponent should have conceded there. I really think they should have played that out. They unless they didn't have the Fury or any removal in their deck, I think that they were likely to win that game because they were digging through their entire deck. I mean, they were drawing how many cards per turn, right? 2, 4, 5 cards a turn they were looking at. Like, and 7 turns they've gone through their entire deck, so they are going to find that Fury. And yes, I understand that they were trying to waddle through hate there, but um, getting rid of that Archon does change things. And, in addition to that, I do acknowledge that the Containment Priest could not be killed at the same turn as the Archon with the Fury, thus inhibiting their ability to get the Benjamines back. But anyways, that was a really polarizing game, and I think this was a nice league, guys. You do see the how well the deck is working, and despite I don't think we played that league perfectly, I thought we played it reasonably solid. Once again, guys, I know there's probably more aficionados out there than me. on White Initiative. I am interested in your thoughts and feedback. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I appreciate you hanging out with me once again. Happy New Year, and we will see you guys next.